Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Nate Garassi. Besides that, I think Vanguard should allow brokerage access to crypto ETFs. Here are my three most strongly held beliefs on the category. BlackRock should absolutely file for spot XRP, Solana, etc. ETFs. Crypto Index ETF as well. Protect their current crypto ETF leadership position. Honestly, I am shocked that BlackRock has not filed for a spot XRP ETF. What are they waiting on? And you ever take notice, Larry Fink can never talk about Ripple or XRP. And Brad Garlinghouse really doesn't say a whole lot about BlackRock as well. I think there's an NDA there somewhere. But it would be great if BlackRock was to file for a spot XRP ETF. Right now, there is nothing to challenge Bitcoin's ETF dominance. But once XRP is on offer, I believe we will see a swift reallocation. Take a listen to how they're promoting BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF.
Tantrum into a comfortably bullish state of mind here. Let's hone in on the Bitcoin and Ether for a minute here. And since the rally has been all the news today, it's showing in the flows. I think the ETFs have been part of the rally. If you look, this shows the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and here's the spot Ether.
So they're showing Bitcoin ETF assets surge past $150 billion. I still think that in XRP spot ETFs, I think all those spot ETFs, once they go live for XRP, they're going to 4x what the Bitcoin ETFs have done. Because I think the institutions see more value in XRP than what they see in Bitcoin. Because look at the demand for XRP already. And we even have companies creating XRP treasuries as well. This is going to continue to gain a lot of momentum. That's why I think the XRP ETFs are going to be a massive success. Here's how 10,000 XRP could turn to $33.8 million. I'm going to tell you right now, you really don't need 10,000 XRP. People holding 1,000 XRP in the near future, they're going to be looked at as legends. So the 5 Blairs is highlighting a market scenario where XRP hits a staggering $3,380, calling attention to several factors that could lead to this level. Now, think about it like this. If you're holding 1,000 XRP, you're still walking with $3.8 million, actually $3.38 million. Think about that. And that's holding 1,000 XRP. These people telling you that if you're not holding 10,000 XRP, then you're going to miss out on financial freedom, they are absolutely wrong. And it's all about game plan more than anything. If you're getting passive income and reinvesting into this space, buying more crypto with your passive income, you can easily build a massive amount of wealth with very little investment. But these articles, every once in a while, whenever people are very excited about XRP, you see these articles roll out one after another. Just stack as much as you possibly can, sit back, and then stay patient and watch it all play out. You will make a lot of money. This comes from Black Swan Capitalist. XRP can't even stay above $3. not because it lacks value, but because it threatens everything. It ends the fraud, exposes the system. That's why it's suppressed. That's why it still follows Bitcoin's 4-year debt cycle. When it decouples from the shadow market, it's over. Once utility starts driving the price of XRP, it's game over, because that's when we will fully decouple from Bitcoin. When will that start? It starts with regulations, because regulations are going to benefit XRP way more than they're going to benefit Bitcoin. And once XRP decouples, you will never, ever hear FUD on XRP ever again. This comes from Eleanor Tourette. Crypto week commences. Lawmakers and industry go all in. Now, here's what they're trying to do. They keep talking about these 3 bills: the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the anti-CBDC bills. And I was hoping that they would definitely get something done this week. That would be absolutely incredible. But I just don't see it happening that soon. This comes from Chad Steingraber. Vote scheduled in. Market structure on Wednesday. Stablecoin on Thursday. But this comes from Smoke. U.S. Senate targets September 30th deadline for landmark crypto regulation bill. Stablecoins and market structure in focus. So are they going to fast track it this week, or is this going to play out into September? It's politicians. We all know what happens. They all talk big like they're going to get a whole bunch of stuff done, but all it ends up being is just more talk. But once we get regulations in place, that's going to change everything in the United States around innovation and crypto. Things will start to happen so much quicker, because that's when everything gets the green light. Until then, there's some reluctancy still with a lot of institutions. And even people that want to tokenize a whole bunch of assets, they're very reluctant as well to start tokenizing things on a massive scale. They're kind of like, well, maybe we shouldn't go all in quite yet. Let's wait for regulations first. But this will lead to utility. And once we get utility driving the price of XRP, like I said, it is game over. The SEC will announce the end of the Ripple case on July 17th. We have another closed-door meeting with the SEC. I don't expect anything to happen on that day. It would be great if it did happen on that day, but we've seen these closed-door meetings come and go. I think the SEC will come out and make that big announcement when none of us expect it to happen. And even before the SEC makes the public announcement, the market will already reflect that news. What I'm telling you is, you will see the price of XRP spike up, then the news will drop, most likely 10 to 15 minutes later. We see it happen time and time again. Bernstein expects long and exhausting crypto bull market with Bitcoin to hit $200,000 by early 2026. I honestly do not see Bitcoin reaching 200K. I think it's going to really start to struggle in between 120 and 130K. That's just my honest thoughts on it, because we're going to start to see a lot of sell-offs begin to happen. That's why we see all this Bitcoin shifting all of a sudden. I think people are positioning their Bitcoin for a massive sell-off. Now, it would be great to see Bitcoin get to 200K. I just think it's very unlikely. I would say the top would most likely be 150K. But I also don't expect Bitcoin's run to last into 2026. The Bitcoin dominance is already starting to break down. I think Bitcoin's run will most likely be over far before the end of this year. But who knows? Well, I've seen this cycle get delayed, Finally, we're starting to see upward movement. Everybody's starting to get excited again. So who knows? Maybe it does get drug out that long. But I still think it's not going to see 200K. Who's going to let them in on what utility is? Dave Weisberger says it out loud. XRP is a beta to Bitcoin. This is laughable.
I made this point and people gave me all sorts of shit. I gave a quote in a Forbes article a couple of weeks ago. I said, they were asking about XRP price. They were talking about the court case. I said, the court cases don't mean shit. What matters is XRP is beta to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's gone up. And guess what? XRP has done exactly what I said it would do. Its beta to Bitcoin was high. It's gone up more. Bitcoin plateaus, et cetera, et cetera. Bitcoin drops, et cetera, et cetera. So
what he's talking about is XRP following Bitcoin. And sure, that's happening right now, but that is not going to continue. Once utility kicks in for XRP, I'm telling you, all of these people, you will never hear from them ever again. Just wait until Tether ends up decoupling, or not decoupling, but crashing out and losing its peg. Once that begins to happen, guess what? Bitcoin's going with Tether, because Tether's been propping up the price of Bitcoin for such a long period of time. Bitcoin is also very tied to the U.S. debt at a time where the U.S. is already looking to shift away from the current U.S. dollar in its fiat form over to an asset-backed digital dollar backed by possibly gold or other assets. Things are starting to shift, and that's why they don't care about the petrodollar anymore. I still think at some point the Fed is going to end. I think it's going to happen with Jerome Powell's term ending in 2026. Because what do you need the Fed for when you have a gold-backed digital dollar? There's no reason to even have the Fed at that point. And, no matter what form the U.S. dollar is in, you need a bridge asset to move it, like XRP. If the U.S. is sending money to China, right, they're not going to go from the digital dollar to China. They're going to go from the digital dollar to XRP, and it's going to come out on the other end as the digital yuan. Same thing with Russia. Same thing with the EU. You always need to have a bridge. That's what makes XRP absolutely incredible, because it can bridge anything of value. And I'm telling you, the day that utility run begins, you want to be holding XRP. You will never hear about the price of Bitcoin ever again. Because, even if Bitcoin gets to 200K, how much money are people going to really make? Unless you're a big bag holder that bought back when Bitcoin was cheap, it doesn't even matter, because anybody putting in a couple of dollars week over week, they're not going to make a lot of money in Bitcoin. The real money is made in utility. People always said that I'm an XRP maxi, but I'm really not. I am a utility maxi. I see the value in IOTA. I see the value in Algo. I see the value in HBAR, XDC, XLM, QNT. I think QNT is going to be massive. But when you look at everything and you see how it plays a factor in the real world, that's where you want to park your money. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.